In this episode, you'll learn how to manage your time better, what the root cause is of your struggle with time management, and what the first step is to making a significant change. Managing your time wisely is far more complex than the tools you use. If you go out and you do a search on the internet and you ask how to manage my time better, you are immediately hit with sponsored ads that are telling you to download this app or download that app. Very often, when you're scrolling through Facebook, you are hit with an ad that says, maybe you need this PDF so that you can manage your time better. Then, if you're scrolling past the ads on Google, you're going to see things to do, such as maybe you should make a list, have a plan, or make sure you have a routine every day to save time. You need to prioritize the list or set goals, start early in the day, right? So, while those things are all valuable, there is one absolutely critical thing missing from all of that information, and that's what I'm going to be sharing with you today. I would love to tell you that all of your time management woes are going to be solved if you just follow my 3-step process, but I think that would be a lie, and I don't want to tell you that because it wouldn't work. Instead, we're going to dive deep into the root cause and the very first step that you need to take in order to gain control of your time and use it wisely. So let's talk about that root cause. Chances are your time feels out of control. Your time feels like it's not your own because you say yes to too many things. We all feel the pressure and the stress when our kids come home with this form and say, surprise, I have this big project due tomorrow, or surprise, I am bringing cookies. Can you make cookies for me, mom, right? I remember so often the kids were like, oh, I really want to do this baking contest thing. And I do love to bake and I love to decorate cakes. And I always made really special things for the kids when they were younger. But then they would be like, oh, I really want to do this thing, and school really wants you to bring blah, blah, blah. And I would feel pressured, not from the kids so much, but from what people at school were expecting. So then I would say yes to this huge complex cake or these cake pops that would be dipped in whatever, and they would look like, oh, Dr. Seuss, the Cat in the Hat. We did do that once. I don't know that it went as well as I wanted it to. But those are just some examples. And maybe that's not the best example because I did want to do those things, but I don't know that I necessarily had time for it. But our root cause is saying yes to too many things. It's saying yes to things without really being intentional with our time. So, what is the solution? What's the very first step to take? And it's one word: no. Being able to say no really is a game changer in your time allocation, in how you manage your time, in what your routines are, in the tools you use. Like I said, those things are important, but if you don't know what is important to you, saying no is virtually impossible. You don't have a good reason. You're like, oh, well, I can squeeze it in, so I'm going to say yes. So the very first step is learning to say no. And this concept, it's not like we don't know how to say no, right? But the concept was first introduced to me in an impactful way when I read the book Present Over Perfect. And I know I'm probably not going to say her name right, but it's Shauna Niequist or Niequist, Niequist. And I'll drop a link down below to purchase her book on probably Amazon. I'm sure it's still out there. For whatever reason, the way she explained all of the situations she had been presented with really helped me understand that saying no will change how I manage my time. It's really changing how I live my life. So, how to decide what to say yes to and what to say no to. That's what this book helped me understand. And I'm going to try and explain it here to you a little bit as well with using some of my own examples. So, determine what you value in your life. That's really deciding what's most important to you at this time in your life. That's how you're going to decide whether you say yes to something or say no to something. So let's look at the definition of value. There's a couple of different ones, and we're looking at it in terms of a noun, not a verb. The regard that something is held to deserve, the importance, worth, or usefulness of something. Another definition, a person's principles or standards of behavior, one's judgment of what is important in life. So basically, I wanted to share that because it gives a little bit more than just me saying, well, figure out what's important in your life. That's what you value. So there are 4 things that I value right now in my life. And these are kind of high level, and each can kind of boil down to different things. But even if you have this high level list of what is important to you in your life right now, it really helps you decide whether the thing you're invited to or the help you're requested of, whether you should say yes or no. Okay, so I'm going to share my 4 areas: family, church, business, volleyball. So they're kind of weird things, like volleyball is important to me. Well, I coach my daughter's volleyball team, and I have been coaching on and off for several years. So it is something, it's volleyball season right now. So that is something that's important to me right now. Family is kind of a high level, broad thing. Is it my kids and my husband? Is it my parents? What all gets included in there? But I can give you a very specific example of something that recently happened. So I have a stepbrother, I guess you could call him. We didn't really grow up together, but through marriage and stuff like that, he and his wife are baptizing their baby over this weekend. They're having a cookout on Saturday. The baptism is on Sunday. My mom let me know about it, I think yesterday when we were talking on the phone. And this is something I really, really want to go to. What more fun could I be having, than enjoying time with these little kids and with family and friends and people I haven't seen in a really, really long time? They are encompassed under family, but I have already committed to volunteering at church. Myself, my son, my daughters, we're all going to be volunteering at church this weekend. And my daughter is running a cross country meet on Saturday. So it's like our weekend is already accounted for. And plus, it's like an hour and a half drive to this event. So this is something, though I want to, and it's encompassed under family, and this would be something I would value, seeing this child baptized and dedicated to God. It's something we're going to say no to this time. But if we didn't have these things going on, I would be like, oh yeah, we can for sure come to the Saturday thing. So do you see what I'm saying? I value family, church, business, and volleyball. So when this request was made or this opportunity presented itself, I was able to bounce it up against my already committed time and decide whether this is something we could do or not. All right? Time management is not something you just have the right tool for, or you make the list, or somebody else tells you to fill out this sheet. Those aren't the solutions. This is something that only you can do for yourself and decide for yourself. Let me give you another example in terms of how your home looks, how your home feels. Is this something that's important to you? Do you value an organized and clean home? If so, these are things that you can still ask for help on, right? Maybe you're like, it doesn't have to be super organized, but I really want it to be clean because, bugs and mice and whatever can get in the house, and I don't want to deal with any of that. So yes, it's important, but maybe it's more of an obligation. I want you to know that it's okay to ask for help in these situations if you aren't able to allocate the time to it. Maybe you have someone come in and clean your house once a week, right? Okay, these are intentional decisions, and I think that's the biggest part of this, making an intentional decision. If you have people dropping by at your house and you really want to have an organized and clean home so that when people drop by, you're not feeling anxious about it, I can help with that. I have a program called Home Organizing for Beginners. It's for people who really want to learn how to do this themselves, and you value that quality. You value the ability to teach your kids how to live an organized life. In this program, you learn the foundational elements of home organizing, which are sort, organize, and sustain. Once you learn these concepts, it really lays that solid foundation in which you can build your whole entire look and feel of your home on these foundational elements. All right, so I'm going to drop a link for you in the show notes to go ahead and sign up for that. It's a go at your own pace, but you get my help and guidance every step of the way. That's what I have for you today. I hope you have a fun and productive weekend. I'll be back here next week sharing tangible and simple instructions about home organizing, cleaning, and time management. I'll see you then.